All right, what is happening, guys? I am back again with another training session. Today's session, yesterday's session, whatever day this was, it's a couple days old now that I'm getting to this. Um, yeah, this is a chest session. Hour and 11 minutes total training time here. Um, let's see, starting with dumbbell flat bench here. As always, rep goal 8 to 12. Took a weight progression this week. Actually, that's a lie. I did not take a weight progression on this top set. I kept the weight the same and took a rep progression. This is 110 pounds on the top set. I hit 13 reps here. This was an awesome progression. Last week, it was 110 for 11 is what it was. So got 2 more reps here today, and honestly, it felt really good. These felt easy as hell. Really like it when this movement clicks because it sets the tone for the rest of the day. And when this first set, just getting under some heavy dumbbells feels good, the whole rest of the session feels really good. And this was one of those sessions. Actually ended up taking a pretty big weight jump on the second set too. I think I did 100 pounds last week. I went up to 110 this week since I hit 13 reps on that top set, which is one above my rep range, and the weight felt really easy. I was like, fuck it, we're gonna go just keep it the same for the second set. So second set was also 110 and I hit 10 reps, which is awesome. Middle of the rep range there, super happy with that. Next week we'll go up to 115 on the top set, depending on how that feels, depending on how many reps I hit there. Maybe go up to 115 on the second set as well. Most likely just keep it at 110 for the second set. And then the third set was 100 pounds, so just a 10 pound or 20 pound total drop, and hit 10 reps there as well. And that was an increase from last week. I think last week was 95 for like 9 or 8. So this was just way better than last week. And it just goes to show that, my previous session, last week's session for this was not the best. So don't make snap decisions on how you approach your training based on your performance in one session. I didn't change anything here. In fact, literally nothing other than moving weights up, taking progressions, even though last week's weights and reps were a little down. And this was the best performance I've ever put forth on my chest day. This was a PR in every way for this movement. So don't change things that don't need to be changed. Stick with it, push through it. Obviously if you're bashing your head against a brick wall for 2, 3, honestly more than that, I'd say more like 4 weeks, then, switch shit up. But, keep persevering with your movements and it will pay off. But yeah, this was good. Nothing else to say about this one. I'm just going to let the last set play out and then we'll move over to the incline press. All right, now moving into the hammer strength incline press. 5 pound progression here this week. Went from 210 up to 215, which is what's on the machine here. 12 reps on the top set, first set rather, and then 9 reps on the second set. It was 215 for both sets. Third set, 180 for 10. I'm just now looking at my log and I'm seeing that I put 101 by mistake. I did not hit 101 reps. 10 reps on that third set. So yeah, this was a progression all around. That third set is sticking a little bit. I haven't taken a progression there, but considering that I am moving up, progressing in both my flat dumbbell bench before this movement and progressing the first set or 2 sets of this movement, I'm not too concerned about that third set really not doing much. Yeah, these felt good. Don't really think I changed a whole lot here today. Maybe I was a little quicker. I usually am very slow through this motion, and I think I was maybe a little faster here in a good way. I think normally I may be a little bit too slow through this movement, so I've been trying to speed it up a little bit in a productive way, and today felt like that. I was a little more explosive, and it felt good. Yeah, nothing to complain about here with this. right, now getting into my isolation movements for the day, my pec deck. 10 to 15 rep goal here, as always. Took a 5-pound progression on the top set, jumped up to 130 and hit 130 for 16. Wasn't the most comfortable 16, felt a little harder than the previous couple of weeks. So I think next week I'm going to keep this weight the same for the top set, and then the back off set was 115 this week. Only hit 12 reps, so that will also stay the same next week. So the weights are going to stay the same here. Not a whole lot to say about this either. Again, I think really hitting my chest as hard as I did on that first flat bench kind of led to some more exhaustion in these ladder movements throughout the session. But that's not a bad thing. That's, you don't need to progress everything all at once. In fact, if you're doing that, I would argue that there's probably something that you're doing wrong more than correctly, because progressing all of your movements all at once across both reps and weight every week more than likely means you're probably losing out on the strictness of form that you're trying to maintain through your movements. And you're losing out on quality work for quantity work, whether that's more reps or more weight. You're trying to chase quantity, you're not chasing quality. And there's a balance to be struck between those two things. So that's what I'm trying to chase here, is just balancing quality and quantity to make sure that we are stimulating everything as effectively as possible. And into the machine lateral raises for the day. Again, 10 to 15 rep goal here. You'll see I'm not grabbing the handles again. I've now gone back to just free balling it, as they say, with my arms here. And I don't know why I keep switching, other than it just feels comfortable some days to grab the handles, some days not. It just kind of depends on how my shoulders feel and what I'm feeling. Took a, I think, 5-pound progression here. Actually, I think the weight was the same this week. I don't think I changed the weight here. 112.5 for 17, 105 for 12, 105 for 11. That was a progression, I think, from, I think it was a 2-rep progression on that top set. So next week, that top set will go up in weight. Second and third set will stay the same. Yeah, these felt good. I don't have a whole lot to say about this session, because it all kind of felt really good. Whenever these days feel good, it's hard for me to walk away from the session with anything that's like, super critical that I need to change. The only thing that I would, looking back at this, maybe change is, I don't know, maybe doing some more partials at the end. I could probably squeeze out a couple of partials extra. That is actually something I need to apply to all my training. I need to really focus on, I shouldn't say focus on, I should say just think about and remember to get in those partials at the end of a set when the movement is safe enough to do so. And this is, a braced, light, simple movement that you can easily get some partials in without any major risk of injury. Obviously, I'm not going to be throwing the dumbbells up on the flat bench and trying to get partials there, right? And honestly, probably on none of my pec movements, other than, I guess I did get them a little bit on my pec deck, and that's where I would continue to use them. All right, and now we're going to move into the bilateral tricep extension. Changed this one up a lot today. Huge weight drop here. Last week, I think I hit 105 pounds or 100 pounds, 110 actually is what it was, 110 for like 12 reps or something. But honestly, the quality of those was not something that I would, not what I would consider good. So I really dropped the weight down here and really focused on this movement with just solid contraction, really driving through. I mean, you can see here, getting a good stretch at the top, emphasizing the stretch on the tricep is great, and then really driving through, really locking out. That's what I tried to do this week, and it felt really good. Dropped all the way down to 70 pounds on the first and second set here. Ended up doing 70 for 21 and then 70 for 12. Dropped again to 50 and hit 50 for 16 and 50 for 14. So next week, I think I might do 70, maybe like 75 as the top set, and then immediately drop to 50. It seems to me that my body is just telling me what works best for me on this movement is to have one really heavy all-out first set and I say really heavy, I mean, heavy within the bounds of the rep range that I'm working in and the goals for the movement, right? So my heavy set should just be that first set, and then I just need to back off for the remaining 3 sets and just try to really get that extra volume through reps. I think that that'll be a little more productive, rather than getting, let's say, 70 for 13 or 12 or whatever next week, end up hitting 50 for like 18 or 20 or something. That would feel much better. But yeah, other than that, this actually felt really good. I loved this new kind of structure, just really focusing on the form here rather than emphasizing progression on the weight or the reps even. The reps will come if the form is good. And if everything is moving like it's supposed to be moving. And it did. This was a good movement today. Triceps are traditionally something that I don't want to say I struggle with them. It's not like as weak as my back, but I definitely need to bring them up. I mean, at this point, my whole body needs to come up. But my triceps are probably one of the few things that remain that are really in need of improvement in terms of like something I can focus on a push day, right? I would say, my arms are pretty well balanced in general. My chest is fine. My delts are obviously fine. Right now, I would say in order of priority, back, hamstrings, triceps. And then, we're talking about anything after that is just kind of like, there's no point in really discussing it. It's like, yeah, it needs to come up, but it's not a priority. So that's where I'm at with this. Triceps are something I'm trying to focus on my push day is kind of a big component of that. And this felt good. The next movement, single arm overhead tricep extension here, did not feel as good. This was not as great today. 30 pounds, as it has been for like the last 6 fucking weeks, but took another rep regression here. This has been and I even talked to my coach about this. I'm like, listen, for the past 2 weeks, this is kind of stalled out, and I even regressed this week. Do we want to change it? Currently, we're not. We're going to keep an eye on it for maybe another week or 2 weeks. The reason we're not changing it is we just made some changes to back training. We just made some changes to the structure of the week overall. So we're not going to make all these changes at once. Right now, this is going to stay in play as it is, not even moving it around within the session. And I'm going to see if it continues to kind of just not do anything. The problem I have is I really need some overhead tricep work, but I think we might end up having to move this prior to my bilateral tricep extension, just so I can get this work in first, hit it a little harder. And that's also probably another reason that this was a little lackluster for me today. Again, 30 pounds for 12 reps and then 10 reps. The goal is 12 to 20. And to my point, the reason this was probably a little lackluster is because I knocked it out of the park on the bilateral tricep extension, right? So we had more work there, and it was more productive work. And I was able to get a little less total work here because of that. It was just more fatigue. The triceps were obviously, much more fatigued on that previous movement from the higher quality of work. So, painting things in a positive light. Didn't really progress here. Didn't have a great time with this movement today, but that is because everything else felt really good. So yeah, that is about it for this session, guys. I will be back tomorrow with the mixed leg day session. That is going to be my 39th day of this ball. I can't believe we're almost 40 days in now. But yeah, if you like this content, guys, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know if you have any questions, what you're doing for your training, all that good stuff. And until tomorrow, until next video, take it easy.